Welcome back to Videorama, where we take your requests for a topic and give you our recommendations. We received a message from a woman who has an addiction to... No, we didn't. That's a lie.
Yeah.
that woman, she was addicted to something to do with her grandkids.
I think last I heard from her, she blasted her vagina off.
Right off.
So sorry about that. Let me go back. We received a message from some old deteriorating lady who has a problem with those damn fool kids on her yard, and she wanted killer doll movies that were not, I guess they were lesser known. So no Puppet Master, or as we established last week, no movies with Charles Dance.
But he killed somebody and he did it on purpose.
But I am a doll.
Yes. No Charles Dance, no Charles Band. No Charles allowed. So I should give the warning now. There will be spoilers in this for the movie we're covering, and
There always are.
there have been similarities drawn between this movie and Squid Game. So if you're watching Squid Game, there may be spoilers for that too. So just a heads up.
There's
If you
also
have-
another manga like this was based on called Gantz that also did similar too.
Wait, was it called Dance? Like Charles Dance?
Yes, it was called Dance Magic and it was by the Goblin King. I'm sorry.
Yes! I knew it. So, with that, watashi wa dachiza desu.
Oh.
Or Linda.
Yeah.
Oh, is that some kind of language like they talk in the foreign country? Is that what that
believe
do?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up.
Oh, my name's Adrian, and I watched this movie from far away this week where they talk real funny.
Yes, Ojara, my son.
Yeah, what that means, I don't know.
Matara desu, so desu matara.
It is good.
I think it was from Russia or someplace. I don't know.
With love. And apparently we have a nightmare incarnate. Dan, want to introduce
The
yourself,
big
Dan?
I
reveal.
gotta turn my damn lights on. It's kind of dark in this lab.
Oh God.
I'm
Hi.
Oh my biscuit.
What the hell is happening?
I don't know.
Are you
I
Dr.
love it.
Jekyll? And Mr.
My
Hyde?
name is Hyde.
Ivy.
I see you're a member.
Is that comically large net for catching dolls that come to life?
No. It's my pair of pantyhose.
Oh.
Yeah.
My guest today on Doctor the Doctor.
So, listeners, viewers, please see our future episode that's inevitable. The movie that fucked us up as kids, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde together
It
again.
inspired us to embrace man's bestial side.
That's true. Hi.
Hi,
Oh,
chicken
hello,
sushi.
Colin.
It's appropriate.
And we have a an employee from a different Videorama branch joining us today. Joanie!
Hi, Joanie.
Hello, I'm Joanie. I'm secretly a magical girl who rides atop a velociraptor.
Oh,
It's true.
that sounds like effort.
And I see it in the background. Clever girl.
Just don't move and you'll be fine. Don't squeak.
With that, I should say that Joanie and I met at work, and she's my sister from another mister. I'm usually really, really super shy at work, but one time I was in the kitchen, and she was talking with some friends, and she said, "Sometimes that is better." So I was like, "Hi, I usually don't do this, but I think you're my sister from another mister, and I need to be friends with you."
She was a little intimidated at first, and then you had to tell her, "I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the church."
Something like that.
I just have one thing to say, Linda.
Yeah.
I fucking did it.
Fucking did it.
We killed that fat barkeep.
Every time I think of I fucking did it. Like I gotta call Jody. So Joni chose our recommendation this week. Care to share?
So if you don't like this movie, you can blame me. That's totally fine. I'm cool with that. This movie is As the God's Will. That's the English translation. I'm not going to try the Japanese title because I'm still learning Japanese and I'm horrible at it right now. And it was directed by Takashi Miike. Many amazing films. A few of my favorites are One Missed Call, Zebra Man, The Happiness of the Katakuris, and also does fabulous anime adaptations in live action, such as Ace Attorney, and most recently, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I didn't know he did Ace
Oh,
Attorney.
really? Okay.
Yeah, that was an
Ace
awesome
Attorney
one.
movie is great.
Hold it.
Good on him for still getting work after originating in that weird straight-to-video craze back in the day.
Yeah.
And being super infamous with stuff like Ichi the Killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Audition.
So many movies. So if you've never heard of him, please look him up. There's sure to be some kind of movie there for you because he made pretty much any kind of movie you can think of.
He's on that sampler. He's on one of those 3 Extremes movies, and his one was pretty much the only one worth checking out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also made high praise with 13 Assassins.
Mm-hmm.
The man gets around. Yeah, he made he made that gangster trilogy with the Rainy Dog and all that.
Not to be confused with the 13th Ghost.
He's kind of like Japan's Howard Hawks.
Oh man.
He's super good.
Yeah.
So As the God's Will is basically a death game movie. If you've never watched a death game movie before, the one that comes to most people's minds is Battle Royale, which really started the whole craze of death games in which a classroom of students are literally thrown onto an island with weapons and they beat each other to death, and that's the movie. It's a little more complicated than that, but this is kind of the same concept. You're forced into a game in which the only way to win is to kill everyone else or be killed by participating in these really interesting games. And for this one in particular, it's interesting because each of them is themed after a different type of children's game, which if you're a fan of Squid Game, that's also similar to the premise in there. The ones in here are mostly focused on Japanese toys. So the 5 ones that they have in here are the Daruma. The Daruma. There's great little, I don't even know what you would call those. We don't really have a equivalent for it in America, but it's basically like a good luck charm. And the idea of it is that when you're going to accomplish something, you get one of these Daruma, and when you start off, they have both eyes blank. As you can see, I've filled in one eye here when I have a goal that I want to reach. So I wrote my goal on the back. I want to finish my next game. And so when I started my game, I filled in one eye, and then when I complete it, I fill in the other eye. And then traditionally, every year on the new year, you bring your completed Daruma to the temple, and then they burn them for you. And so it's like an interesting little ritual. So,
and he screams.
Keep him around, and he screams.
Will they burn my Beatles records too?
Revenge for all the times he's been burned,
See, I didn't know that because I have a giant Daruma on my fridge, but I thought that he was just like supposed to have one eye open for whatever reason. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really fun. Very cool. So I love Daruma, and they're just like, they're a really great gift. Like, a lot of people will go to Japan, they'll bring some home for people, and the different colors mean things too, which is really fun. So if you're ever interested in that kind of thing, look them up. They're really fascinating. Wow. And so that's the first game, and it really opens up very strong in this movie.
Yeah.
Game, you're given absolutely no explanation to what's going on. People just literally start exploding into red marbles.
A girl has red marbles come out her vagina.
It wouldn't be a Miike movie unless something came out of a vagina.
This is true.
If that's turn you away, then you'll probably enjoy this movie. That's like probably like the crux right there. Is if you're okay, you'll probably the rest of the movie. If you're not, turn away now because it just gets worse.
There's a posting on YouTube that claims to be As the Gods Will. It turns out it's another movie, but that one also has blood coming out of a vagina in like the first 10 seconds.
Interesting. But I love that it just like it starts off like putting you in the thick of things, like no explanation, no build up. It's just like, oh, we're doing this. Okay.
It was from God, Linda. God.
God.
And it should be noted that God
believe.
means something different to the Japanese.
The movie opens with our protagonist, Shun Takahata, and he's lamenting on how his life is so boring and nothing ever happens, and oh God, please bring me something interesting to end the boring life that I live. And then he regrets it immediately because all this stuff starts happening.
He forgot that that's actually a curse. Yeah.
I told my husband that like it seemed like, because we were watching it together, I was saying it looked like a in that part it looks like a BTS music video because like you've got like the falling leaves and then some guy comes up with some like pop hairdo like leaning against the balcony.
Yeah, honestly, it reminds me of one of my other favorite movies, Houseu, about the haunted house and the 7 girls who go there, because it also has a very opposite sort of feeling where it's like it's all happy-go-lucky, and then suddenly it just goes downhill. Like
and
at night,
suddenly someone gets bit in the ass. Oh, that movie is wonderful.
It's been on my list. Joanie told me about it like a couple years ago, and it's been on my list ever since. But
yeah, it's another one if you get a chance to watch it. So with As the Gods Will, basically there's this god that's controlling everything. It's putting these students into these games. We don't really learn a lot about it until about the halfway mark in the movie, when it sort of takes a break from Shun's point of view and it pulls back and it shows all these news reports of this giant white cube floating in the sky. And apparently it doesn't like say exactly, but we can assume that all of the games are being broadcast live to everyone. Everybody is watching it. They're watching on their phones. They're watching on the TV. They're watching on a giant screen floating in the air. So these, like, it's almost like the whole world is wrapped up in this. And it's not only centralized just over this one particular high school in Japan, but these cubes are appearing all over the world at different places. And it's only targeting high school students. We don't know why. That's never explained. They
And I
deserve
love
it.
that because, like, at one point they show it's very much like a reality game show where it shows Shun and like they show him like a freeze frame
In
and
his
it
mouse costume.
yeah, and it shows his name and somebody says, "Where's this broadcasting from?" And it's so funny because like no joke, right before that I was like, where is it broadcasting from? like, where is that coming from? And then they asked,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'd say the one thing that's very strange about this movie is the pacing, because it'll swap back and forth between all these things. You never quite know what's going on, which kind of adds to the horror because you have no idea what's coming next. You understand there's more games, but you can't really fathom like what's going to happen because each one is stranger than the last one. And so, for example, after they survived the classroom game with the Daruma, I guess I should explain that game. So they have the Daruma who literally explodes from the teacher's head. So he like inside the teacher's head explodes. Daruma hops onto the front desk, turns around and starts singing a song. And on the back of him, you can see like there's this little button. And so essentially this is red light, green light. And while the Daruma is turned around, they can't see him. They have to come up here and push the button to stop the game. And there's a timer. So they're being timed on it as well. So they can't really, take their time with this.
He's got head splody.
Yeah, but he's got head splody. So if he catches you and turns around and he sees you, then you explode into red marbles.
And he's singing the Daruma fell down. But in Japanese, it's like the Daruma.
Yeah, he's
that's everybody's favorite
it's only
song.
like one line, but he draws it out so long. And I'd say that's like a difference between this one and Squid Game. Is in Squid Game, like it's all the same length. But this one, it's because he's personally singing it, so it draws it out. So you don't know if he's just gonna draw it out for like 10 seconds and then hit you with it, or if he's just gonna and then forward tons of people. So like it really puts you on the edge of your seat.
Unlike Squid Game, this is like supernatural, and it doesn't. I think the problem my husband had with it was not just that, like it doesn't have a like a parable or whatever, but it's not just that. It's just he kind of had an issue with the lack of plot behind it. But I was, I've come to the conclusion because I loved it. I fucking loved it, and I think that if you're in it for the plot and for like a plot rich movie, something with a lot of story, then you're probably not going to like it, but it's more of a spectacle.
Yes.
And I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I think
like
it's mostly the style of the anime or the manga is based off this thing's happening, because Miike in the past has done very, very faithful adaptations. And it's very likely that's also what this was going after. Like they don't explain to me the true horror story of this movie, which is the grown man in a room with empty cans and many, many, many anime idols repeatedly saying the children of God, God's children.
What is it? Otaku? That's the term, I think.
It's
well, he ain't say so.
Kami-no-ko, the children of God.
Yes.
Oh, no, I was thinking about this guy.
By a basement dweller
I think
off
he's
the hentai.
Considered otaku. yeah, there's lots of
like a hikikomori kind of deal where he just lives inside of his apartment. Yeah. Everything is delivered to him. He never comes out. He never goes out.
With his mom, and
it's with his mom.
That was the funny thing. Okay, so he's like living with his mom. His room's a fucking mess, and he's got all this like anime stuff like surrounding him, and the hentai stuff. And I told my husband when he came up, I was like, I dated that guy.
Yeah, you did.
We all did.
It was Adrian's ex-roommate, and he went to Japan and came back with a suitcase full of like underage hentai porn.
Oh no!
We're not going to say his name, but if you know
No,
us, you know who that is.
Oh my.
This is the guy who made me watch 5 seasons of Babylon 5.
Well, it's better that than Bible Black, I
was going to say, and we watched
Yeah.
No,
Bible
it's from
Black.
him that we saw that
was
too.
him.
Oh, God.
He wanted to stay for the whole 90 minutes. It's like, I'm pretty sure we figured out the plot by now.
Yeah.
Jizz goes in, then it comes back out.
Girls grow penises. Like, everybody has sex. Like,
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of variance after
Got
you
it.
figured out the main theme there.
Yeah. Can we talk about the best game in this game ever?
are you talking about
What's
the
your
next one?
favorite?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So
Yes,
after
please.
surviving the Daruma, they're all directed towards the gymnasium. And upon arriving in the gymnasium, they discover mouse costumes, which some of the children have already decided would be a good idea to put those on. Because the funny thing about all these games is they feel very unfair in a way that, like, with Squid Game and things like that, they tell you the rules up front.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
these are the rules. You do this, you're out. The thing about this one is they don't always tell you all the rules, and there's a lot of secret rules.
It's just like
that you
real
don't
life
know
in
about.
that way.
And they
Yeah.
keep lying.
It's
But
very
yeah, with
true.
Squid Game, like, they make it a point that to make everything even and fair.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that's part of the social commentary of that one, is like trying to
Right.
make something unfair into something fair. So, but yeah, for this one, they don't see anything at first, and until they gather everyone in there, then suddenly rising up out of the gym floor is a giant Maneki-neko, a giant lucky cat.
Which I have on my fridge.
Yes.
And Kitty has an itchy back, and somebody needs to get up
Yes,
there
he
and
does.
Like, no
scratch
joke, I've
it.
got like 5
Yeah.
right
I
here.
think Linda was with
Or
me when
4.
I accidentally stole
I have a
my
huge one.
lucky cat charm.
Accidentally.
I was holding it and petting it, and you were getting crap at this market, and then we walked out, and you're like, wait, did you pay for that? I'm like, oh no, I didn't.
It sure was lucky. Oh, it's not my fault. It should be supernatural.
When you steal the nickel, I don't know if that's like
That might
double
explain
bad
a
luck.
lot.
Maneki-neko, is that it?
Yeah, the beckoning cat,
Nico,
Yeah,
Nico,
right.
Nico,
which
Nico.
is based on an actual cat that lived in a Buddhist temple that would beckon people to come into the temple, and the temple started selling little figurines,
Come at me, bro.
and it went uphill from there. They're still very popular today, and you see them everywhere.
I have
They're
one
little-
by that I got Carlo. Actually, when we first started dating, I bought him the Daruma and the Neko kitty, and he's holding like a little crystal ball. But you guys know him because if you haven't seen these like stationary ones, then you've probably seen them in like maybe like a Japanese restaurant or market, and they're the ones that go.
It's in all them stores.
Yep, they're saying, come in, please. Come in, give us business.
They are adorable.
They are wonderful. This one, however,
Yeah.
is not wonderful because as
I
soon
think
as
it
it
is.
comes up, it immediately starts eating people, specifically the people who are wearing the mouse costumes, which coincidentally, the mouse costumes bear a striking resemblance to a certain mouse.
Oh, well, what do you know? I own everything. I'm gonna sue you.
I'm gonna sue you, bro.
And they quickly discover through basically trial and error that the thing that they have to do is that there's a basketball hoop on the cat's collar, and there's a giant bell the size of a basketball, and they have to shoot the bell into the basketball hoop around the cat's collar while the cat is moving around and just eating everyone in sight.
And
So
it
they're
kind of
in
looks like the snitch without the wings.
That's a perfect way to describe it. And there's a wonderful moment here that's one of my favorite moments in the movie, where there's one kid in here who is like beefed up. It's like, this is the basketball ace. And he's like, I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. This is where I'm going to be the hero, and this is when I'm going to do it. He takes the ball, he shoots it up there. The cat stops it. And then he's
out of my house. Yeah.
The arms move. What the fuck?
And he slams that boy in the wall with that bell.
Beat up. Like, so you're just, it's so humorous. I love that moment.
So great. He says, I've been making 500 shots every day for so many years.
Yeah,
and I never missed
my
one.
fingernails break on me.
So he says like his fingernails have fallen out or pulled out.
Yeah.
This is what I've been training for my whole life. But they do that in like the first game too, because they have that really awesome guy that is like everybody's freaking out and they're like, I don't want to die. And then there's this one guy who's just like, be calm.
Like, yo, bro, I got this.
And in fact, like actually that echoes through like other games as well, because there's a very brilliant guy in the Kokeshi game coming up who's literally laptop like doing all these calculations, and that's still not enough to save him. And it's really funny because it turns it on its head, because normally in a death game those are the kind of people who survive all the way to the end. If you watch something like Alice in Borderland, like that's the main character in there, Arisu, very smart, like very calculating, knows how to beat a game, you know. And this guy Shun is just lucky, really.
Yeah. Well, he's clever.
And
He's
then
definitely
Schwarzenegger
clever.
takes out Opera Man and gets him to electrocute himself.
But in the
Just
first
saying,
game,
it's not only Japan that makes this stuff.
That's fair.
this guy is saying like, you know, they show him like helping Shun like steal games before, and he's just like, you have to be calm and you have to be bold.
Yeah, the dude was just like, nut up or shut up. The guy was gonna steal one game. He's like, here's 5 games. Meet me outside.
Guy's like, here.
That game's trash.
Yeah, like, take these games. By the way, you got a nice ass. I'll see you outside. Like, what? I guess we're dating now.
He's what they would call in prison his bitch.
He is an alpha.
But he's so calm. He's got this, and they make you think like, oh, okay, this is going to be one of the main characters. He's going all the way. No, he's like they're surrounded, literally surrounded by corpses. They've got like half a minute to go on the timer behind the Daruma, yeah. And so he says, let's just play like leapfrog. Use me to leap over the corpses. And he makes it just in time. And then Daruma says, you have survived. The winner, or the one who pushed the button, is Shun.
Blame that guy.
I love that he just the sound of his thumbs up and he gives it a little.
Yeah, and then it suddenly explodes in the marbles, and he's still like, I did it.
The thumbs up turns into
it's so shocking when you see it, because you assume both of them are going to survive. So
yeah,
and that's when you first see how unfair I think these games are, and that you don't.
That's a valuable lesson. Use your friend as a ladder, and then you survive, and they don't.
When it plays into the next game they play with the cat, where they put the cat to sleep after rubbing its back like a good kitty once, and then like, okay, let's do this. Like, no, motherfucker. It's like we're all doing this together. So they end up fighting over who's gonna do it and live, and the cat gets reasonably pissed off and acts like any cat being disturbed from a nap, and out come the claws.
And I have that. I want to play that.
You have a claw warp?
Nya nya. Nya nya nya. Nya. Nya 背中がいいの。かゆくて眠れないよ。
And so that's the idea behind them wearing the mouse costumes, is if you're not wearing the mouse costumes, all you hear is nya, 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 nya. But as soon as you put on the mouse thing, you can hear it say, oh, my back is so itchy. Won't you scratch it, please?
I can't sleep because my back is so itchy.
And I'm huge, so it isn't going to do me any good to rub myself on your shoe.
Yeah.
I love that they're scratching porcelain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just hear like that sound foley of them just like scratching the porcelain cat, and it's like it's so ridiculous, but you're so into it because it's so intense at that point.
Well, and there's some like 2 strands of rope in the back. So I was telling my husband, I was like, it has to do something with those strands of rope on the back. Like that has to be something. But yeah, and what's her name? The female lead.
Well, you mean the one that has an unfortunate game, or the one with the short hair?
From the beginning, his neighbor.
Right.
Yeah. She like, unfortunately, like she was closest to the Daruma in her classroom, so she pushed the button and ended up killing all of her schoolmates.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's the only way to get out of that classroom.
Yep.
What's a little bloodshed between friends?
You gotta push the button, or you gotta be red marbles. That's the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, and we also want to mention this game is also significant because it introduces one of the best characters in the movie.
The man
Amaya.
straight out of the battle royal.
Yeah. He was a bloodthirsty.
Ayasha.
Yeah, Amaya. When we first meet him, he's
Draco
literally
Malfoy.
grounds, and he's beating up 5 kids, and he's like mercilessly beating down the last one, and then he's over at Shun like, hey.
When I was in high school, that was me. I would take on 10 attackers a day and like 12 more at lunch. That was me every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people would meet me after school to beat me up, but I would beat them up, and then I would go to their house to beat up their dads.
That was like our cousin Mike, who used to try to tell me, yeah, I got my ass kicked, but it was cool because I was like on the ground bleeding and told this guy, give me my backpack. And he did. And I pulled out a smoke from there and I lit it up. I was like, no, you didn't.
Was that in between crying and wetting yourself?
Yeah.
That's how I did it when I got beat up in school.
He was literally Chris Farley and Billy Madison. that Veronica Vaughn is one hot piece of ace. Oh.
So we have Amaya, and Amaya's whole thing is wrapped up in he believes he has been chosen by the god who is running these games. In his opinion, he kind of takes on this like light Yagami role. He's like the god of this new world, and I am like a prophet of this like new god, and I will bathe myself in blood and I will destroy everyone to become the best, for I am one of God's chosen children.
And he just prayed for this world.
Yeah, he's in a different way.
But like, meanwhile, while all of them are playing the cat and mouse game and literally running for their lives, Amaya takes the time to take a picture of Shun looking alive in his mouse costume, and he comes in at the last second, and like they trick the kitty by wrapping a basketball and the bell. They put the bell in an empty basketball shell.
Inside a deflated basketball that the cat shredded open.
Yeah.
And then they wrap those in the mouse costumes and basically get him to think that like Shun accidentally let some of his basketball show. And so they lead the kitty to believe that the girl is holding was it Ashkia? I can't remember. Anyway, they lead the kitty to believe that she's holding the real bell, and so he's like Donnie said, "Not my house."
Yeah.
And then Shun comes in and he shoots the ball, and like I was telling my husband, I was like, "It's not gonna make it." Shut up. It doesn't make it.
That was great.
But then like Amaya shows up at the last second, runs up the cat's back, and like grabs it and throws it through the hoop.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Look at this picture I found of you. You look alive."
And then the best part is after the cat's defeated, he goes off and he kills like two of the other students with his katana.
He doesn't even wait for them to be killed. He's like, I'll do it.
I'll take care of this cat. Don't worry, I got it. Because they did not participate.
The real world isn't about making friends. Whatever. It's about winning.
Yeah.
Because Shun's trying to say we all scratched its back, so we're all gonna survive, and usually the god dolls, whatever they say at the end, the survivors are, and anyway, so they say the survivors are Amaya, or what's his name, Shun, what's his name, and the girl's name, and then they're like, well, wait, what about the others? Look back that they've all been stabbed.
Yeah, they didn't have to say any more names because they're dead.
They're dead. No reason for it. It's just Amaya's just like, no, I'm gonna kill bitches left and right.
Meow, bitches, meow.
And after this is a real turning point in the movie, because at this point, after that game is when we find out about the giant floating cubes, and from there everything begins to get more and more surreal.
They wake up in their PJs in the white room.
Yeah, they wake up in these white clothes inside this white room, and they're all separated. They figure out it's based on their names, so all of the kids whose names begin with Ta are in this room. So Takahata, Taiko.
Taco.
I remember Taco.
It's like Taika and Shoko Takase, and Shoko's the other lead female in here. So, and so the four of them. I believe Tyra is the one who's the mechanical genius, who's sitting there typing away on his laptop, trying to figure out this game and figure out how to win. And then suddenly,
actually excited.
Yeah, he just knows. He's like, "Oh, children's games. I've got this. I'm gonna
survive.
I'm gonna survive. This is the first one to die."
Parsley.
And so the next.
That was the one thing I really felt bad for was Parsley.
That's nobody's
so
favorite.
That game was, I think, the worst out of all of them as far as unfair rules. It was really fun to watch, but it was really painful to watch too.
They even the guy, the murderous bastard, said he was the one saying, "I knew this was a lie all along." It's like, you kind of can tell because they tell you how to win a game, but this one's just like, I'm just gonna ask you some questions. Like, well, how many questions? You could have asked that. It's like, no, this just ends when I want it to end.
But before that, you have the what do they call, the Kokeshi or the?
Yeah, this is the Kokeshi, which are these tiny little wooden dolls. I don't know if you can see tiny eraser version.
It's blurry, but
they're little tall dolls made out of wood, and they tend to have names written on the back. So each of the ones in here, there are 4 Kokeshi dolls in this game, and they each have a name written on them. I know there's like a Ayumi. Is the other names? I don't remember. There were just 4 generic Japanese names, just like kids' names that you would find out on the playground, nothing special. And each of them has a different character face on there, so they all have their own distinct personality and name. And then basically what they're playing is Kagome, which is basically Duck Duck Goose if you were blindfolded, and you'd have to tell who the goose was who tagged you. Yeah. So basically, they sing the song, they walk around you, you're blindfolded. When the music stops, you have to say who's behind you. And if you guess the correct one, you live. If you guess the wrong one, you die.
But it's really hard because they don't say anything, and they're when they're singing the song, it all kind of blurs together. But you know what it made me think of is the interview process to get into Videorama. They say, you have to guess who's tickling your butthole.
Pretty much the same way if you apply it to Bon Marché.
Yes.
And here we go. I've got the thing for that too.
中の鳥はいついつ出らる夜明けの晩に後ろがそれ
Oh, I love it.
It's a very simple game, but very deadly. And again, our protagonist manages to trick the dolls this time around, because this is like third game now. He's starting to catch on that there's a lot of stuff going on under the hood of these games that make them very unfair. So he's recording things that are happening around him, and he records one of them saying time is up, and then he plays it to make them think that one of them said it, and then that's how he's able to win the game, is one of them says, oh, blah, 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 and then by process of elimination be like, that one is there, and then they were in this configuration, so if that one's on my left, then blah, 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 that one's behind me, and figures out the game. And in that one, like, only one person needed to win, so as soon as he does that, him and Shoko are ready to go on to the next game.
But I think that might have been one of the most brutal killings.
Yeah. The splits?
Yeah, there's that person literally pulled apart, like drawn and quartered, like by the Kokeshi.
Yeah, she suffered some van damage.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like they do this weird thing where they like shoot a laser into your forehead and they take control of you like a puppet, and then they just like the first guy they just mash into the ground, and you just assume that's the way for the other people too. And the next guy who gets it, they just literally tear her apart, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, she does like the splits, and then they've got like these magnets in the bottom, so they connect and pull and pull and pull and pull. So she got split up her vagine.
Yes, you do.
Which we again get to see blood.
That one was intense for sure.
But I mean, it's kind of funny because the whole thing of not telling you a lot, it does coincide with what they tell you later on in the last game of you had to win by intelligence and strength
and creativity, I think.
Yes.
And popsicle.
The four qualities were fitness, intelligence, imagination, and luck.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, on to the racist polar bear.
He wasn't racist. He had the coolest intro, too.
He was rad.
I like pure white things. I hate black hearts.
There's like a mini game that happens between these two games. It's a
keys, yeah.
They have these keys, and it's kind of like this weird friend tag where one of the Kokeshi dolls is like wandering the hallways, and you have to be holding hands with someone, and if you're not, dead.
Yeah, that was Kokeshi, bro. He was small.
Kokeshi, bro.
Yeah.
Die when you win, you get a key.
I'm so jealous. You guys are such good friends.
With 7 keys to open up the door into the next area.
Yeah, the guy was like, I'm so lonely.
There are 7 survivors that managed to get a key and go through the door, and they come into the next game, which
there
is
were
Shiro.
8 survivors actually.
Oh, that's right.
They're like, don't worry, I got this.
Amaya's like, we have an extra person.
I just needed him to hold my hand.
It's done now.
It reminds me a lot of this very cheap late 80s straight-to-video movie. I think it's called The Seventh Chamber, and it's these thieves underneath this mansion, and there are these various death traps in there. And the twist at the end is that the girl who was with him was in on it the whole time, and they do this all the time to various victims.
Jane, I like your Stein.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. Cool.
Fine. There's just got water in it.
You can lie. It's okay. Joanie's been drinking little bits of hemlock every day until she gets immunity.
Stronger.
Only the thing I loved about the polar bear challenge, though, is that when the wonderful lady who admits she has a crush on Takashi, she is a part of what makes women not very fond of Miike. And they have said this, that they like his female characters he writes, and they like his romances. but they do not like at all what he does with these women in making twists. It's just,
sometimes you gotta get pounded into the ground.
Yeah, repeatedly.
Really backstory too. Like it's really sad because like both of them, like you think that one of them is gonna come on top of the two girl protagonists, to be with him at the end and have a happy ending. There are no happy endings in this movie. Just sorry.
That's what
Not
I
in this
like about this movie.
Really bad ends.
Yeah.
Get rid of that whole movie girlfriend trope. Just kill her.
Yeah, just kill it. So that's what I like about it. Like, is that it takes that trope and it just slams it and then just like skull cracks it on the sidewalk.
Yes.
So that nobody's.
And during this part, so the polar bear comes in doing like these like a half pipe, with snowboarding.
And he's a stop motion chainsaw polar bear.
And I told my husband,
I was like half Kool-Aid man, half like what would you call it, like a puppet or something. And he's just like, ooh, I'm radical.
And he has a felt mouth. Yeah.
I told Carla, I was like, it's polar bear extreme.
He's gonna sell us the heck out of some coke.
Yes. You kids ready to talk about the Bible?
You found Jesus.
Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming.
Yeah, let me tell you about another cool half piper who loved to shred some snow. His name was Jesus.
The coolest guy I know.
We got some rockin' music for y'all, stripers here.
He turned water into fire.
I like everything pure white, like my man Jesus.
That's
no black hearts here. No Satan here.
Kuma introduces himself as a polar bear who loves clean, pure white things and hates lies. So the game is, don't tell a lie to me and I won't fucking kill you. So he asks a question and then everyone must answer. And if anybody lies, you'll have to kill somebody. And the kicker is they have to decide who is the liar and who will be killed if that happens.
Sacrificial lamb
in 2 minutes.
Sacrificial lamb who will die for their lie.
One of you's an alien, just saying.
And I was thinking, like, why don't they just like sacrifice the psycho?
That would have been the obvious choice,
right? I mean, they're all like.
That's why I loved it. It's like
psycho. He could kill us.
Like Adrian mentioned, I felt bad for the guy who loved parsley as his favorite food, and they killed him because who the fuck loves parsley?
He was the only one.
But then it's like when they go and they pick the girl as she's the traitor and the liar. Fucking psycho guy's like, yeah, sure, why not? He doesn't give a fuck. It's like,
I
did that not
he
convince you that he's
lying.
the one you should try to pick?
Sushi,
like
rice
nobody
omelet,
bothered saying like it's probably that guy.
Probably the liar.
Like all the people here, who's the shadiest?
Yes.
And he tries to throw out everyone else. He's like, we don't even barely know these people. Who are these other guys? We just bumped into them. Like, at least we know each other, but who the heck are these two guys?
Yeah,
I thought that he was lying from the beginning just to kill people
This
off.
is why I would hate playing this with my sister, because when I got her to play the board game of the thing, every time it came down to who's the imposter in your group, she always chose me. It didn't matter if I was even in the mission or not. She's like, yeah, it's him.
It's Donnie.
I got left behind. I was a human being.
No, you didn't. I was the thing, and so you guys saw through my clever ruse.
Your clever ruse of always throwing me under the bus.
Don't fuck with her, fellas. This ain't her first time at the rodeo.
This is my long game. I always throw you under the bus.
But yeah, because they asked the first question is, what is your favorite food? And then they were like, well, they're all going to be like this. This is going to be easy. And I couldn't help but think of Monty Python. Like, what is your favorite color?
Blue. No.
To an extreme.
I seek the grail.
It's like,
what is the velocity?
Yeah, it's the velocity, but not can swallow.
Like, I don't know.
It's like, who would lie about their favorite food? And not only that, who would be able to tell that you're lying? And part of that you could attribute to, oh, this is a supernatural guy. Obviously, he's like a lie detector, can tell when somebody's lying. You just kind of assume that from the outset. And that's what almost kills everybody, is they assume that the liar is one of them.
Yes,
Turned out he was just another John Edward.
He says, one of you or one of us infiltrated your group and is what disguised himself as one of you.
Among us.
And until you kill the liar, we'll just keep killing people.
And I'm thinking, I don't know, Amaya's looking pretty sus.
When they get to the question that he asks, which is, or it's more of a statement really, and it's fond of Shun Takahata. And so everybody comes around, and the one guys are like, well, I don't know you, I don't hate you, I guess. Okay.
But I love that one. It's like, I'm not fond of him. He's like, that really hurts.
This is surprisingly, I can't remember. This is surprisingly hurtful.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, but yeah, so they decide to blame was it Shoko, and not to be confused with Yoko. And she's like, but I'm not, because they say, well, the three of you guys are from one high school, the two of you guys are from one high school. And then both Shun and Itsuka say, well, we've known her since junior high, and they're like, yeah, that makes her even more sus. And like, what? She just shows up, and so they decide on her, and Shun's like, fucking A, what the hell are you doing? And Polar Bear's like, bam, and it smashes her and gets the blood. Yeah,
like all that's left is hair and a pool of blood.
Yeah. And so then that's when Shun says, you're the liar. Because he obviously doesn't like pure white things, because now he's got blood on his paw. And in the snow, you're like, son of a bitch.
And actually, this is kind of funny if you know anything about like polar bears, is that polar bears actually do have black skin. Their fur is basically this like translucent, like kind of white thing that reflects all the light, but their skin is black. So he's a polar bear. So if you know anything about that, you're like, oh, he's not white at all.
Damn.
That's like another layer to like that kind of thing. So,
Grizzly
but
bears are better. They want to cuddle.
His paint peels away, and he's revealed to be, I wasn't a pure white bear. I was a black bear the whole time.
It's like those dumbass KKK members who like go on Maury and have a blood test and find out that they're 4% African.
What now?
That ain't true.
Well, they knew Maury was going to do that. They shouldn't have fallen for it. Then they found out they were the father.
Yeah, seriously, rip the poor Parsley kid and rip Shoko, because she had a really cool backstory.
She did.
Yeah.
Basically, she was going to jump off the roof, and she saw Takahata just like smashing pottery on top of the school.
Like, so
like,
much fun.
Cool. Can I do that too?
Better. And then she does, and she's like, and now I want to live.
And she gets a crush on him.
And then they kick the can, and they all learn some kind of lesson.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there, Adrian. For fuck's sake, man.
You don't have to tell the whole
It's only
movie.
been an hour. That's what we're supposed to do with these shows, but somebody doesn't want to do that.
Someone's going to get their dick ripped off. Okay, so then from there, they go on to the final stage. And it's Matryoshka dolls.
Yes.
And they have to play kick the can.
Like, funny enough,
Yeah.
the Matryoshka and I actually have like a little Matryoshka here, these little nesting dolls.
Oh, I've got some too out back there. I got monkey ones.
Yes. And so, like, the funny thing about that is the little dolls are actually running the game, and Kick the Can, I don't think has anything to do with Matryoshka dolls, but it's just an interesting game for them to play. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Have fun. Play this game. Play Kick the Can. Like, don't worry about it.
By the way, whoever kicks the can is going to die because there's a huge explosion.
Yeah, they're like, so if you're not familiar with Kick the Can, the basic premise is that one person is it. That person has to go and touch the can, and then they run around and try to find everyone else. And it's kind of like hide and go seek plus tag. And when you're found, you get tagged and you get put in jail. And if you want to, you can go and rescue the people in jail by going back to the can and kicking it before it gets to it, and that'll release everybody from jail. That's the basics of Kick the Can. There's always like home rules and things like that. It's like a very common street game played around the world.
But as you know, like, Shun's gonna kick the can. He's gonna fucking kick the can.
And they warn him. They're like, by the way, if you want to try and save everybody who gets captured, the can's going to explode when you kick it, so you will die. And they're like, can't have this happen. Then we got to make sure we win.
Otherwise, if somebody doesn't kick the can, then everybody in who's been captured dies. So somebody's going to die no matter what.
Yeah.
And if somebody kicks the can, then not only do they die, but I think it dies too. Whoever's it.
Yeah.
So
pretty sure it loses. So it's either it loses or
they all go
you
free
win and everyone in jail dies, I guess. So,
but if you're playing by Twilight Zone rules, then you all get younger.
We are not. The only thing of note for this whole game. The only thing I know for this damn game is how the main good guy puts on fucking full plate armor.
Yep.
But he's walking around like he's just had like meth withdrawals for about a month. And he's just heavy. Suddenly the slowest fuck in the world.
Heavy as fuck, man.
Yeah, and he has a limp.
Yeah, like, on top of that, he like throws himself over the edge with like a chain. He manages to escape out of the suit of armor without it coming apart. Yeah. And so Amaya's up this thing, and he's already climbing up the wall, and he's running to go kick the can. It's like, how did he do that?
He did David Blaine that.
Yeah, mind freak.
He just puked orange soda, mind freak.
Maybe he just fell out of it when he fell off the edge of the cliff. It's like, wow, that was easy.
Oh, that was.
But even then, with all the weight, he still walks around like a gimp afterward.
It's a stricter suit of armor. It's breakaway in the back.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good workout. I mean, but so anyway, he kicks the can, and then he's like, and Amaya's like, but nobody dies, and they're like, the Matryoshkas are like, oh yeah, we're kind of full of shit. That was just for fun.
There's some fireworks and ice cream.
With these popsicles, nothing's wrong now.
And Amaya's like,
Amaya was pissed.
People.
We just want to see him play a game.
Which actually was even funnier with Amaya when he kicks one of the Matryoshka dolls and uses that to get the can down. Like, damn, dude. But yes, the final challenge when everyone's relaxing and the guy decides he's going to talk to this lady about going to hold hands and seeing a movie. They're
going to be steady.
Yeah, they're going to go steady. Yeah, they're going to go to Makeout Point and hold hands and cuddle.
Yep, picking flowers. Yep.
That's when they discover the ice cream they're eating actually tells them who lives and who dies.
Yeah, and he like starts seeing like they're like, yeah, things are gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna live happily ever after. Hot fucking damn. And they're like, ice cream. Although culturally, we're probably more of us are probably lactose intolerant, but that's okay. And then
it might not have had milk in it. Might have been frozen coconut. You know,
like
it did look
good, like treats. I love those melon bars that you can get like Sakura-con and stuff. They're super good.
Dreamsicle
like the ones-
all night.
But then he's like Shun sees something like it just says you,
Yes,
and he's like, "Oh look, I won something.
Like a joke or something on here.
I am a winner."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Sorry, I don't think we're gonna be able to be boyfriend and girlfriend." He's like, "Bitch, what?"
Yeah.
I thought these sticks just had lame jokes on them, but now they're telling my death.
Like,
It's just...
Tonight you will get your dick ripped off. What is that? Is that a winner or something?
Maybe popsicles terrifying.
3 die and only 2 walk away.
Yes. So, ironically enough, Amaya
Lives.
Which makes
Now
him
he's
happy because he's God's chosen.
Yes.
He
Now
is. He
he's
is
like
proven.
perking up. Like at first
Yeah.
he's like, I didn't get to kill other people.
Yeah.
He just drops his
Yeah, he said
popsicle.
that. He lost the game. He's like, whatever. I lost the game, but whatever. It's not important.
But he's like still a winner. And so it's like, what the fuck, man? And like, but then he's like, other people die? Yes!
And for no apparent reason at the end, we get God and then we get Mr. Otaku coming out to save the world with his anime.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
like
they're like setting it up for a sequel or a series.
No, that's all you get. That's all you should get.
Yes, you
Never
don't need
explain it.
more.
Never.
That was one of the more confusing things because they were talking a lot about like Kami-sama. Who is Kami-sama?
Yeah.
Who is God? And earlier we were treated to a little vignette of a homeless man approaching 2 other homeless men, and he like bangs on the radio and fixes it instantly. And when that's the guy that we see at the end, so we're like, oh, is this Kami-sama? Is this the guy running the game? Why?
Yeah.
Like,
His character's name is Homeless. But yeah, in the Shinto religion, kami are basically spirits, ghosts, and like they could be different animals or take the form of different animals. But in this, he's a god. And I know this because my cat's name is Cammy, and I researched the Shinto religion.
Your cat's based on that Cammy's secret product.
I also
Yeah.
call her Kamala.
He's going to kill you.
I mean, I've already accepted that.
Well, she is
yeah,
really
she's Kamala Khan. Yeah, you met her. It's Auntie Joni.
Well,
but yeah, so they end up really happy, and Amaya's like,
Yeah.
God's child,
yeah.
God's child, people died.
Yeah.
Yatta!
And obviously,
You
it's
are the
only just the
solid
beginning.
moon.
Things are on the horizon for them. And so Amaya is happy, and Takahata is terrified, understandably so.
And he's like, both my
Well.
potential girlfriends died. That's a bummer.
You know who else was terrified at the end of this?
Oh,
Amy.
who, Donnie?
Amy? Amy, what happened? What did you do? Amy, this is serious. Damn it! Where is it, Amy? Where is my money?
Amy.
Amy. Amy, beautiful.
Amy, beautiful, beautiful
Okay.
Amy.
So this movie came out at a time when I was very happy. It came out in 2014, and everything, the future looked bright, and I felt like my life was really together.
Had to wear shades.
Yeah. So world premiere was on October 18th, 2014 at the Rome Film Festival. And then it came out in Japan for its only general theatrical release on November 15th, 2000.
Tomorrow, as of we're recording this on the 17th, so tomorrow's the 7-year anniversary. Good timing, Joanie.
As the gods will.
Happy birthday, as the gods will.
Yeah. So it costed about the $1.5 million. It grossed roughly, I'd say worldwide, but it was just Japan, really. The $1.9 million. Hit a really good opening weekend. It opened at number 1, beating out something called Pale Moon, which I've never heard of. I think it's also from Japan.
Hasty Moon.
And remake of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
And something called Clover. And something called Twilight Saya and Sasara. And Expendables 3. And Close Range Love. And Dracula Untold. Then there's a Pokemon movie. And
The Pokemon movie.
then there's a bunch of shit that I've never heard of. And there you go. Damn. Japanese box office 2014. What?
Best year of our lives.
Well, that's when Linda did the Get Married.
Yeah, that's when I did that thing.
Yeah, and Donnie got us all drunk on his sweet candy beer.
So good.
He did. Yeah. We were on a boat.
We were.
I'm on a boat.
Me
We're
and
on
Linda
a
tried to
boat.
dance the Footloose, but we were too old. Not like now.
Not like now where we reverse it, age like Benjamin Button.
I told my wife I aged like fine wine. She locked me in the cellar. No respect.
So that would explain why I keep singing. I'd never ever do it on a Christmas tree. Oh, what would said of me. So I was gonna say, what would Satan think of me? But then I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
No.
Johnny,
He's standing and clapping.
Yes, Linda.
Were you able to Donnie, oh Donnie, were
Any
Hell yeah.
questions? Oh, I found some reviews.
Oh boy.
I'll just bet you did. I bet people really understanding, appreciative, and respectful of Mr. Miike's oeuvre.
Actually, it was really hard to find bad reviews.
Okay.
Really?
But they all had a common theme, apparently. And
Well,
I'm
it's
going
like-
to present these as they were without translation because
Well, and Rotten Tomatoes, isn't it like something?
Okay,
Rotten-
let's not look at Rotten Tomatoes at all. Okay,
fair enough.
like
however,
fuck
Rotten
critics,
Tomatoes is very
especially fuck
biased.
critics working nowadays. They're all just a bunch of little butthurt bitches that want to make the name by shitting on old good stuff. Fuck them.
Including us.
Yeah, they hate us. Yeah. No, fucking word to your mother, Rotten Tomatoes. Okay.
Yeah, come at us, bitch.
I watched the whole of it just because I'm that type of person. I'm not one of those critics that goes to the movies just to find justifications for why they hate that particular film. I try to enjoy everything I watch and look for its good points, and for that, I rate a lot of movies highly. I'd rate most of the films I've seen 7 and above out of 10.
Fuck.
See how considerate I am? Not in this one. This is just dumb and creepy and weird. Please, spare yourself. No matter how intriguing the plot seemed, don't watch this. I've seen Elvin Lied and Battle Royale. These are 9 out of 10 for me. So don't think this is one of those deep, gory masterpieces.
What? Battle Royale, a 9 out of 10? I don't know.
Yeah.
But don't they
Watch-
say the same thing about us? Stupid, creepy, and
Yeah.
weird.
That's why we stopped going on Tinder.
I never watched a Kinji Fukasaku movie.
Watch this movie blind without knowing it was from one of my favorite directors, and it made things worse. WORST.
It worst.
This is a
That's
fun
not
one.
liverwurst.
First of all, acting is just bad. Dialogues doesn't help either.
Never have acting. No, bad.
And
Acting
it's
is
not
bad.
like fun bad like I would expect from Takashi. It's not just there. Second, the monsters or gods or whatever boring, and especially watching it after Gantz. Zero.
What? wait, what was
I will
that?
repeat that so
Oh, we
you
got
know
a
you're not
Gantz
having a
fan.
stroke.
Yeah.
Second, the monsters are gods or whatever at the letter E, boring, and especially watching it after Gantz 0.
Oh.
I know it's newer, but it's just 3 years. There's nothing going on for them. Third, another battle royale that adds nothing to the genre. There's nothing to write home about it. It's bland, cheesy, not suspenseful, and nothing to care about the characters. I'm familiar with Takashi Miike's work from Visitor Q to Yakuza Apocalypse, and it's a hit or miss. Sadly, this one is a miss, unlike the letter. Not ladder, letter.
I have Yakuza Apocalypse running silent in the background.
Oh.
Oh.
That's also a fun movie.
The big screen and has a tadpole attacking people.
I haven't
And
seen it yet, but it looks like it
It's
can't help but
awesome.
be
It's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
it's a
amazing.
fun movie. Yeah.
A fan
I
of
mean,
Miike's, the director. I thought I'd give this film a chance. Wow.
Take a chance.
What's
Take a chance. Take
that
a chance.
a mistake? The beginning 10 minutes or so are insanely bad.
What is
Not
love?
so bad it's good way either. This is just god awful.
Everybody's got to
Tempted-
make that clear.
God awful.
Ah.
Tempted to turn it off, I was determined to sit through it to see if it improved, and it did not. I started to play on the 3DS to help get to the end. It's that bad. The ending didn't have any kind of message, and I honestly say that I feel cheated for wasting 2 hours of my life on this turd. Please, if you're a fan of Miike, to ignore the fact that this film even exists.
I'm an authority on matters, I really must say. Normally I love things, but this movie made me hate things, so you know it's really bad.
A dramatic reading.
I have over 500 Yelp reviews. I think I know what I'm talking about.
I'm a Yelp elite.
I'm verified. Thank you.
You know who I am.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. A lot of
Well,
opinions. They didn't
That was
like
special.
it. They didn't like not knowing how things work. They didn't like that it wasn't super, super duper gory. It was just fun.
They're right up there with that Michael Medved, I swear.
Apparently,
Yeah.
there have been a lot of people who compare it, of course, to Squid Game.
That's more
And-
recent because people want to sound smart by comparing this film from 2014 to something 2021.
I feel like
Well-
that's culturally narrow of them.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, why
also,
not mention 31, or The Running Man, or The 10th Victim, or Death Race 2000?
or even Battle Royale for that matter, but which is, I mean, then you get into that whole line of like, yeah, Hunger Games and whatnot. But the thing is, like, we were just talking about it on the last episode of Broomflix, where I was saying, like, we were covering the film version of Into the Woods after having covered the the film version has Meryl Streep.
Yes.
But then that was after the stage version, including Bernadette Peters.
Okay,
Yeah, that one wins.
And it's just one of the things where, like, you can enjoy one of them as long as you don't compare it to the other. Just like with Constantine. Constantine is an awesome, fun movie to watch if you don't say to yourself, this is John Constantine of Hellblazer. Because if you compare the two, you're going to say, That's not fucking John Constantine. That's fucking Keanu Reeves.
And sometimes it's just fine to be Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
All the time it's just fine to be Keanu Reeves. But what I'm saying is that like it's unfair to one of the movies if you're going to compare it, unless it's actually like a fucking reboot or whatever.
Honestly, a lot of people are comparing those because they want views and they want the hits because it's popular, so they have to tear down into that. Like it's something new to do. And the only comparison they can make is they both have kids games and only one of those games appears in Squid Games. That's it. Everything else is completely the opposite. In Squid Games, you're told you can be here by your own choice to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's voluntary.
You're not picked by God.
And it's adults.
So yeah, and those people have a reason to be there. Yeah. So it's just
the other
people
difference
doing
is
that for
I'm
likes
never
and
watching
hits.
Squid Game.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
that
honestly,
movie's
for
not-
me, like, I first watched this movie this year in the summertime when I was looking for specifically for death game movies, and this came up on a bunch of people's lists, and they're like, oh, if you haven't seen one, you need to watch this. And then just a little while ago when Squid Game came out, I was like looking for things on Netflix being like, man, I just really enjoyed As the Gods Will, and I can't seem to find any more good death game because I already went through Alice in Borderland. And then Squid Game came up and I was like, yes, more death game content. Yes. This is the dystopia I live in.
Squid Game is fucking amazing. I mean,
There doesn't seem to be a lot of information about As the Gods Will, though, for some reason. Like, it seems to be sort of ignored.
a lot of people have said that Squid Game is just a ripoff of As the Gods Will, which is actually bullshit because it was actually the story for Squid Game was actually, I believe, produced and ready to go in 2010.
Yeah,
or something like that.
In 2009, and was shopping it
wrote
around.
like an outline
and
of
shopped
it,
it to Netflix, and they're like, psh, no.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like we have the manga that this was based off of, and that was like a 5-volume manga that they did this whole thing off of, and everything gets traced back to something else, so nobody wins in this game.
There's no original story
anymore. We covered that.
But yeah, so you can't compare the both of them is what I'm saying. Like, and it's possible to enjoy the fuck out of both of them, which I do.
And they should, but
I just think it's crap that we had to go all the way to Vudu to get this because like Netflix didn't have it, and Amazon didn't have it, and YouTube claims to have it but doesn't, and freaking Tubi doesn't have it. Like,
it has it in Russian, but I also found a site that has it in very bad dub.
Yes, you really want to watch this one like in good quality because it has such cool like special effects.
I hate giving Vudu any of my money because they're fucking Walmart, but it's
you
the
give
only
Fandango
option.
your money, and they're also owned by them.
Oh, I used to. I don't give But Donnie,
what are you supporting fascists?
Yeah.
Please share your story of the alternative version you found.
No, I think people should discover this on their own because it was dubbed from 2 different languages to English. Ooh. So, yeah, it makes no sense. If you think what you're watching makes no sense, the subtitles make even less sense. Like even with the game with the cat and the bell, it literally just says, "You mouse." It says, "Okay." And then the game, instead of it saying, "Put the bell on the cat to win," or to end, it just says bell on cat over. Like, okay, that kind of you can still follow it. But then it's like when they say put on the mouse costume, they're like, "We is mouse." Okay. It's like, oh, all right, I guess we're mice now. Squeak, bitch.
Hey, I'm a fan of the Crazy Cat comic. I'm cool with not really knowing what's going on.
It just kind of reminded me of the movie Amistad, where it's like they're looking at the Bible and they're interpreting the story through the pictures. And that's kind of how this goes. You're just watching the movie because you're like, these subtitles are gibberish to me. And it's not even in a language I don't know. It's my own language, but broken. So you're like, I put it together by the pictures I see on the screen.
English.
Yeah, and they're like, Your Worship, could you say it not in Latin? We're not in like Latin town right now. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What? Blasphemer? And then Martin Luther's like, hey, dude, could you chill a little bit? And the guy's like, let me think about it. No, I'm going to pursue Galileo later on, even though the time frame doesn't work. Later.
But what I will share about the alternate version I watched with those subtitles is that it made for a different movie, which I think we're going to do now.
Donnie, didn't you say that it was okay, so it's like originally in Japanese, but didn't you say that version was translated to Korean and translated to English from the Korean? Yeah.
Is that your doctor of it, Linda?
Because I went trying to find this so I could show this movie to friends, and I'm like, damn, this is in Russian, but it looks good. And then I found another one. I was like, wow, this is in 1080p, but it's not English that I know of English. And it's like, wow, maybe this one will actually work. Oh my God, it actually has English, and it's in 1080p. But I still watched it on Russian.
Like the
Russian subtitled movies or Russian dubbed movies are amazing because they usually have one man doing all the voices.
Yes, that's
one man show, so cool.
Yeah.
Usually the dubs are so fucking like the acting is always so bad and like the sound is always so bad. You could tell
sometimes
that
that's what you're looking for though. Like
sometimes
actually, that adds something. That's like
yeah.
Like the Giallos, they were way better when they were dubbed because the ones later where you get Italians trying to do English, it's god awful.
That was something I was going to bring up because of the scene that you mentioned, Linda, where the guy is talking about all the hours he played basketball for. In the version that we watched on Vudu, it says that his fingernails were ripped out repeatedly while he did this. But in the other English
I was thinking you're basketballing wrong.
Yeah, the other English dub that I watched, instead of saying his fingernails were ripped out, it said that his fingernails had broke, that they had snapped. And it's like so. And then I looked. Then I looked online.
Pop off. Yeah.
I looked online, and they said that there are 2 English tracks to this, but the first one that came out had a lot of inconsistencies. So it had a lot of alterations in what was said. But then the more recent one, the one we had on Vudu, was supposed to be the more appropriated one, the one that was actually done with care.
Okay.
So that's why it was kind of interesting rewatching it with friends and seeing that come up. And seeing the differences in what I had watched last night on Vudu.
That fingernail line, did that make anybody else think about Bryan Adams' Summer of '69?
I know he played till his fingers bled, but I would love it if Bryan Adams said his fingernails came off.
Just popped out.
Played until my fingernails ripped out.
I'm sure
now I can't play guitar.
Like, I was a fly who dreamed of being a guitarist.
And then I got really pissed, and I was like, "Fuck this shit."
Linda, do you have a script doctor?
I do, because of course I would like to see the sequel, see what happens, what it's all about, and all that. However, I've decided actually because as Joanie said, they do say that this is happening around the world, that these cubes are showing up and making these high schools play the game. I would like to see other versions around the world. What are they playing?
Same.
Who's showing up there? And is the Matryoshka doll showing up for everybody? With the disturbing teeth and tongue?
Heads Up 7-Up.
You're gonna play someone gets their dick ripped off.
I remember when I was first going to college, and we shall not name who it is, but somebody who came close to ruining my wedding was telling me that since I was going off to college,
That's the thing I don't like about 2014.
Yes. Guy. He was telling me that it's going to be the best time of my life going to college, and I should play the games that he used to play. Like his partner would put something in his butt, and he had to guess what it was. So can't that be one of the games? Guess what's in your ass?
So he watched 9.5 Weeks when he was really tired or stoned and like got it all in reverse. Like, oh, I put the Dayquil in my blood.
Yeah.
You can leave your hat on.
What's in my butt?
I'm gonna need a stick of butter.
But yeah, sorry, that's my script doctor. Oh, or I would remake it beat for beat, and I would basically change nothing about the movie except I would digitally insert Danny DeVito as all of the doll gods.
You would.
Like Daruma.
He would make a great Daruma, just to be fair.
And he would be every single one of the karumes, or whatever they're called, the kagumes, or whatever.
The Kokeshi,
the
playing
Kokeshi.
Kagome. Yeah.
Kagome.
And
I offer you an egg in these trying times.
Do you have a script doctor?
Yeah, out of my deep abiding respect for Japanese culture, I am proposing a French version called Death Chamber: The Reckoning. Directed by Ernest Cline, who gave us Who Are You, Polly Pagoo and Mr. Freedom, because I feel like his style really meshes with this kind of a thing.
Not Ernest Cline from Ready Player One?
No.
With a K, man. With a K. Oh. Oh. Baby, why you got to do that? No. My version would be shot by Dante Spinati. This would be an early 80s movie, so it'd be pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, and I figure you can get yourself a Jean-Paul Belmondo in there and places. He could play young. He can do that. I feel like he has that power, And gonna go a little bit random with the cast. I want Heather Matarazzo, Abigail Breslin. Ernie Hudson is going to be there. He's going to be the president.
Yes.
There was no president in this version, but Ernie Hudson has to be the president.
Foutoir.
Music would be by that band Television. My version would clock exactly 80 minutes, and the end credits would actually run over a scene. So that's Death Chamber: The Reckoning.
Yay! Le poisson. That's my favorite game. Don.
I actually came up with a business instead of a movie. But you could still make it a movie, I guess, or an Animal Crossing crossover. So when you love playing games with gods, but you also enjoy a well-brewed cup of tea, where do you want to go but the Cat and Mouse Cafe? It's like, in this, the survivors, Kosho and Takata, because Kosho deserved to live, they have teamed up hand in hand to bring the freshest brewed tea and treats. And while you're waiting on these treats to be made and your tea to be brewed, you can play life-ending games with people while you wait. Yes. It's a brew or die situation.
God damn it, Donnie.
I was going somewhere with it.
Hashtag cancel Donnie.
You already tried that.
That actually makes sense for tea, because the Japanese word for tea, cha or ocha, if you want to be more formal, is seen as a heavenly beverage. So it is a drink of the gods.
Things are gonna get easier.
I do like Genmai cha.
Oh, Genmai cha is wonderful.
Our special guest, do you have a script doctor?
Oh, there's so many things, as a writer, there's so many things I would have done differently with this movie. I think there were some times where they put emphasis on things that I wasn't sure what they were going with. One of the things that Shun figures out is that each of the games starts with a specific syllable. So it's I wrote it down. It was Daruma, and then Maneki-neko, Kokeshi, Shirokuma, and then the last one was the Matryoshka out of nowhere. And so it's and they brought that up as this is an important plot point reveal, but it was did it really matter? It was interesting, but I don't get why they made it into like this big reveal, like, aha, I figured it out, as if that would help you in any kind of way.
It's something that starts with
red
Ma.
herring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So there's like, and certain things with like how they were telling the story as far as like the cubes and things go. Like, I probably wouldn't have done it in media res, even to start off with, like with just starting in the middle of the game. I'd want to see like a little bit of more intro to kind of figure out who all the main characters are, you know, and kind of get to know them for a bit,
Okay,
and then
so
see
you
the
use the flashback scheme.
Yeah, the flashbacks just made so much like confusing shit happen.
Yeah.
Like I get why they did that, like, but on another hand, it's like it just makes for a more confusing like story, and you leave feeling very like the games were finished to a certain degree, but you still don't know, one, why the games happened, two, who did the games, and like three, like what, there's no real tease as to what's going to happen next for like a sequel. I mean,
keep saying the word cube here, and there's that independent film, you know, where they're going through the cube rooms, and you never know why in that one either, you know.
Honestly, when I saw the
that one is
floating
less whimsy.
cube, when I saw the floating cube, I really wanted them to be pyramids, because then we could talk about Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yes.
Which would then tie into the France angle.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist, isn't that from the director of Never on Tuesday?
This one also reminded me of another anime that I watched recently that's called Kado, which is about a bunch of people on an airplane, a Japanese airport, and a giant cube, an alien cube, comes down and encases them, and then they have to deal with the aliens inside the cube.
They have to fight Zaram.
So it's kind of like Kado and Battle Royale had a baby, and you get this movie.
I still strongly urge people to check out Gantz, because it's really an awesome story idea. And the fact that you get weapons and armor to go into all these missions you have to complete.
Yeah.
It's very awesome.
It's got very good character like development as well. Like you get really attached to all the people playing Gantz.
Yeah.
Now, is it a manga, or is it, I mean, I know it's a manga, but is it also like a movie or series, or?
You mean, is it something Westerners can enjoy and watch?
I think she's asking if it's live action.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know if it's like, because I know it's manga series, but I didn't know if it's like a animated series too, or something, or
They did
movie.
it as a movie film intended for theaters.
Yeah.
I see.
He's good.
Okay. He's good.
He's good.
So
we learned to step on your friends.
Yeah, step on the back of strangers and you'll go far.
Yeah.
Be the one who pushes the button.
The guy with the Cheeto crumbs in his beard is going to save the world.
The guy with Cheeto crumbs will save the world.
See, I wouldn't have died in that one, because I wouldn't have taken one of those. I'd been like, oh no, my tooths. Oh no, I can't.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, at this point, would I really trust them to give me a treat? Like, fuck that.
I mean, even if you don't take one, the last one in the bucket would be yours. So if everybody else took a treat, or otherwise I would assume they would hand them out or something. Like, they'd find some way to make you do it.
I'm not going to steal the fizzy lifting drink. The plant will be mine.
Yeah.
It's like, why is God making them play all these games? Is he going to choose like the next person to run the games, and he wants someone who like fulfills all these? Well, he's an old guy.
And what does he need with a starship?
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Jefferson Starship. I figured in the American version, you'd have all those idiots that were out there like shooting their rifles and guns at the cube. I got it. Don't worry, America.
And they blow themselves up because it just bounces right off.
Would have been nice if they did like
honestly,
other
I would love
movies.
to see like different like locations if there were to be
Yeah.
like more sequels to see like here's the movie in the US. Like would
Yeah.
it have like US centric games if it was in France? Would it have like traditional like French kids games? Like it would be really interesting to
Yeah.
see. What if it was in like a poorer country somewhere? Like how would they handle that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to see that. And like how
See the Ethiopian version. Yeah.
yeah, like how other people would
Like
handle it.
Digimon Kala?
Well,
Can't
because
remember
obviously the
guy's
dolls are going to be
name.
different, right? Huh?
I can't remember the guy's name. He was in well, he was almost in a couple of fun movies. But the movie he did recently was really, really artsy fartsy fun.
John
But the whole
Lennon.
point, no. But the whole point was every time somebody asked him to do anything, he would just say, "I'd rather not." I was just thinking that'd be wonderful.
Bartleby, the Bartleby
Yes.
movie. I read the
Yes.
book before.
It's like I would just love if they had people playing the game do that. It's like, here, have an ice cream. It's like, I'd rather not. But it's
That's
yours.
always my tactic.
I'd rather not.
Opt out man.
Insist.
I mean, to a point,
very rude
wasn't
right
that what's his name, Amaya? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, up in like in the beginning of the cat game, he was just like, who the fuck knows where he was? But he was just
He was right
not
where he
participating.
needed to be.
He was watching
Very
it all
different.
very carefully.
The cat had.
He was up
bubbles.
in the rafters with his katana.
Probably.
We can only hope the
Oh.
cat, like the song, will come back.
The very next day. So, does anybody have anything else to say about the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
In that
I
case.
I kinda like that
wonder.
there was this
Gang.
underlying like interesting sexual tension between Shun and Takeru Amaya. Like you're kind of like, oh,
Yes.
I like him. Does he like him? Like it's like a homestuck thing. They had like this
Yeah,
weird.
he likes him, likes him. That's why it ended like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he
should have
was
held
just
hands.
like, I am fond of him.
And
I like
Takahatsu broke his promise in letting that girl's hand go.
I like man meat. Like, I mean, I'd like to see that version.
So you can find us burning in hell.
He did say that sometimes to love is to kill, or to kill is to love. So I mean,
Just ask Lacey Peterson.
Yeah.
hey-oh.
Free Spanish.
So, with that, I will say, please, please, please listen, follow, rate, and review Videorama, especially on Apple Podcasts, because it helps other people find us. It helps with the algorithm. So people, it will boost us up to the top, which will make us easier to find. As of recording this right now, we have one review, and it's really sad, you guys. Come on. I mean, the review isn't sad,
good.
but the fact that we have one review is
Do
really
your
fucking
worst.
sad.
Yeah, see if you
So
can't
please.
review us. Yeah, you sissy.
Yeah.
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 Are you
Millions.
afraid to
Are
review
you
us?
gonna make Daruma cry?
No, fuck.
Listen, my friend, if you think you're feeling strong, write a review. I'm just saying.
So yes, please give us a review, and it will earn you an on-air shout out. And also check out our stuff on YouTube, because if you're not already, then you can't see Donnie's weird ass dance. You can't see his
Dance.
you can't see
They
his
just shuffle
Mr.
their
Hyde.
shoulders side to
Those
side.
costume.
amazing eyebrows.
Yes, his eyebrows are on fleek.
You know, if you did that in Blonde, you know who you'd be.
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep playing Guy Fieri.
On my way to Flavortown.
Guy who's drive-ins and death games.
Give me that chili and curly fries and some pork. Give it to me.
She complained I didn't eat her out, but I told her that's the one thing I won't eat.
God damn it.
Welcome to Flavortown. Dine, Jive, and Dash.
And with that, But also you wouldn't be able to see our pretty little faces.
When is Mrs. Halverson?
Calm down. Sun's going down, big guy. So remember, you can find Videorama on Twitter. You can visit our website at videoramapod.com. Or if that's too hard to remember, you could always go to cageskiss.com, and that will take you to the landing page where you could check out Cage's Kiss. You could check out my other podcast, Bed Nubs and Broomflix. And you can check out us at Videorama. You could also check out Donnie's review corner. And you could also check out Adrian's awesome cage art there. And if you go to Twitter toward the end of the month, you can always take part in our poll to decide on the best recommendation that was presented this month. And that reminds me, we had the results, but guess who didn't get him? Okay, so good job, Linda. Check out my other podcast about. Oh, also, I can't forget. You could also write to us at videoramapod@gmail.com. But check out our Patreon at patreon.com/videoramapod, because we have some really awesome stuff there. And at a certain level, you can be a guest on here. You could choose a movie or a theme for us. You could get an Adrian sketch, and you get access to all our bonus stuff, which we are actually planning our October one after this episode. So anywho, you can check out my other podcast about witches and history and stories of all media, Bed Knobs and Broomflix. That's BROOMFLICKS. You know we're good because we got them licks at the end. Also, you can now check me out in the second season of Forza Crowd as Mrs. Halverson. Adrian.
Oh, I'm on the DeviantArt.com as Leo the Fox, LeoTheFox, all lowercase, all run together, all one word. We'll be cooking up an issue of Dreadful Tales for Halloween. The Dreadful Tales magazine was born on Halloween, and we do that awesome old-style pulp fiction, like the style those that were popular between the 1840s and 1940. And yeah, big freaking issue coming there. Check it out. See if I care. I'm gonna have a story in there in my long-awaited story in my Rocket King in Green series about a comic book that drives people insane in early 20th century New York.
Doo-doo-doo.
Oh, lordy.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be turning 40.
Linda's going to turn 40.
Lordy,
it will be too late.
It's happening.
And you can find me in the back of an Arby's dumpster with all the raccoons. I'm also Unreal Goals on the Twitter. I also am the Wisdom in the Bottle thing on YouTube, which we have a surprise coming at the end of this month if I get my life and my shit together. And that's about where you can find me, except for wherever other popular VHS tapes are sold.
Hey, you could hear Donnie asking the raccoons, "You want to eat that?"
Y'all gonna finish that?
And the raccoon goes, "Not meats. Till I wash it."
Yeah, I'm gonna call you.
Seriously, think about that for a moment. That Arby's catchphrase now is "We got the meats."
Yeah, there's a lot of things Arby's didn't think through so well.
Well, I think I knew exactly what they were doing.
I think so. Joanie, can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and where the people can find you?
Yes, so I am Joanie, otherwise known on the interwebs as Bubbly Oasis. You can find me on itch.io under Bubbly Oasis. I have started a zine called You Can Make Games. Yes, you listening, you can make video games or tabletop games or any other kind of games. I will prove it to you if you read my zine. I also make a whole bunch of other like random adventure games, and you can find me on Twitter as Bubbly Oasis as well. I'm usually somewhere playing D&D, chasing down velociraptors, or turning into a magical girl.
And you write too.
And I write.
Yeah. Some awesome
Linda
stories.
wrote an award-winning play. Remember, Linda? But it was about that Irish lady.
Oh, God.
Linda
not
does
award-winning.
love to hate the Irish.
Yes.
Don't get her started.
That's why
That's
Linda hangs out with
exactly what
Margaret
it was.
Thatcher.
Let them eat potatoes.
Hey, potatoes are great.
Actually, I kind of want a
potatoes.
potato right now.
Potatoes all day.
Yeah, eat some nice fresh fried taters. Mm-hmm. No, I don't hate on the Irish. Thank you. Actually, I think we're part Irish. But anywho, so
The
yeah,
white-
next week,
North America, so odds are pretty good.
join us next week as I'll be hosting, and we'll be covering an all new theme. I mean, somebody's bound to call in for a recommendation. Could it be you? Until then, death to Videorama, long live the new flesh. And Donnie shot a kid.
And don't shove a Twinkie up your butt. It's not easy.
Except for science.
The object of the game is to find the object of the game.
I just lost the game.
Do you want to play a game?
Somebody had to say it.
And we're done.
All right.
No Dr. Phibes references. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.